person. You know, I mean, is there always a need for a supreme being? I mean, we've said more than once on our show that, agnosticism and atheism seems to be growing and growing more and more around the world. People look at the problems that they're faced with, and they say, how could there be a loving and understanding God who allows these things? You know, I will say that I watched a movie on cable called Heaven is for Real. If you ever get a chance, watch the movie. It's also a children's book written by a reverend, a pastor from Nebraska, whose son, at the age of 4, was near death, and he visited heaven. And at first, obviously, everybody was skeptical, but he knew things that no kid should know, you know, based upon his condition and where he was at the time. You know, he knew that his father was praying in the chapel in the hospital, and that his father got angry at God, and that his mother was calling friends and started to cry. He knew that his mother lost the baby in childbirth. He met Jesus. He saw angels. You know, it was a very inspiring type of movie, especially around this time of the year. Mm-hmm. You know, I could see how it would instill, you know, religion once again into someone's life.
No,
you know, and none of these things could be disproven. You know, I mean, there were skeptics who became believers after a while. I mean, the boy is now 14 or 15. He leads a normal life in Nebraska. You know, but, and at the same time, they point out in the movie that a girl halfway around the world was drawing this picture of a vision that she had, and she said it was Jesus. And when the boy saw when the 4-year-old saw the picture that she was drawing, she said, that's him. That's the Jesus that I saw. Okay, so these things can't be explained. You know?
Yeah, obviously. And this was obviously a docudrama or documentary?
No, it was, you know, it just based on a real-life story. You know, as I said, the father was, that still is, he's a pastor in Nebraska. And, you know, it was a small community that always looked out for each other. And, you know, at first, people were skeptical about the stories, you know, when the boy talked about seeing Jesus and sitting on his lap and everything, and people would make fun, you know, but little by little, people came to believe. The father came to believe because, you know, he said every Sunday, you know, he would preach certain things, and then he found himself questioning it, and, you know, he talking to his son, and his son said, he saw his father's grandfather. So the father showed him a picture of an old man. He said, no. And then he showed him a picture of a young man. He said, yeah, that's the one. He said, nobody's old in heaven. And when you think about it, you know, I've said that on the show more than once. You know, people may die at 100 or 90 or 80, you know, but that's certainly not, if heaven is for real, and if you know, take on a human form, if the spirit takes on a human form, why would anybody want to have the body of an 85-year-old when you can be 30?
That's
you know? So anything is possible, and that's what he said, anything is possible. You know, father said, did my grandfather wear glasses? He said, nobody wears glasses in heaven. You know? So if I'm fortunate enough to make it up there, I'll have 20/20 vision again. You know? I might not even be bald. I might have hair.
That's right. You'll be 6'4" also.
Well, no. I always used to tell my students that I used to be 6 foot and weigh 185 pounds, and that I played end, okay, in football. But after teaching for 34 years, I shrunk I shrunk almost a foot, okay, and I put on about 100 pounds, you know, and I lost my hair, you know.
That's it.
What can I tell you? But you know, you wonder, you know, when modern medicine fails, or when modern medicine has no answer. Okay, inadvertently, doctors always say, you know, turn to prayer. Okay, and people generally do turn to prayer. Why is it that old people, as they get older, become more religious, but not, you know, overly religious? They turn back to their roots. Okay. I remember my father having discussions with the rabbi from my sister's synagogue, whom my father knew quite well. The family knew him, and you know, simple questions. You know, I mean, what do you think there is after death? You know, is there an afterlife? And why are people so afraid? You know, and my father said, you know, how terrible could death or heaven be if nobody's come back? You know, evidently there must be something to it. And I've always said, you know, even the great Houdini, who said he's going to be coming back, still hasn't come back. So who knows what's out there?
Well, maybe he did come back, but there's somebody else, not even knowing it.
What do you mean?
If you believe in reincarnation, he could have come back, but not as him anymore.
Well, no, the problem is, you see, the curse of man, according to Plato, is that if there is reincarnation, the spirit comes back and, you know, man has no memory of previous lives. Okay, that's why, you know, people have to be regressed gradually. And some people who become regressed all the way to infancy, you know, and then beyond, you know, they remember certain things. This is why people have feelings of deja vu, like they've seen things before or done things before, even if there's no proof that they have.
Right.
But where do these things come from? You know, they come from you know, pre-existence. You know, maybe in a former life. Maybe I was a woman in a former life. You know.
Maybe a monkey.
According to, you know, Hindus and Indians, I'm talking about Indian, not American Indians, Native Americans. But you know, you could be an animal. And, you know, that's why certain animals in India are sacred. You know, because you don't know if that's the spirit of a former relative. You know, but usually in this case, in America, we generally think of humans living, you know, previously having a human form, okay, not that of an animal.
Right. Now, before we were talking about atheists and all that, and I want you to hear again another very short piece, and tell me what you think he's saying, or what you think of what he's saying.
Happy holidays, everyone. This is the Atheist song. I don't believe, just as Steve. It's only me, but have a very, very Christmas. There ain't no God, no lightning rods, or holiday songs. Have a very happy Kwanzaa. Respect for an atheist. I believe in me, not mythology. The dreidel spins with winter wind. A candle lit. Have a very joyful Hanukkah. Spirit world is very old. You believe in ghosts, at least believe in Santa. very happy holiday.
How'd you like that?
Well, I would have no respect for this person because he says have respect for an atheist, and
Yeah.
what he's doing is poking fun at everybody's beliefs. You know, he talks about having understanding, but he has no understanding or respect for anybody else's religion or feelings. So I mean, look, everybody's entitled to an opinion, okay? But certainly, I think if I heard the song correctly, I have no respect for that person. You know, if nothing else, atheists do have generally respect for other people's beliefs.
Well, that's what I thought he was saying. Maybe I misunderstood.
They just do not, you know, ascribe to them themselves. You know, and this guy's just making a joke out of the whole thing.
I didn't think that way. I thought he was showing some respect to other religions, and he's asking the same back from the religious people. That's the way I took it.
Well, look, like I said, we all have our opinions, and the bottom line is I think that he has no respect at all for anybody's feelings. You know, he wants people to have respect for atheists, but I don't think he has much respect for anybody else's feelings. You know, he does tend to lump them all together, all right? Whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, or anything else, you know. But that's my opinion, you know.
Of course.
Guy's entitled to his opinion, but I don't have to respect it. Or him.
Absolutely not. I thought of this song when I thought of your friend in Florida.
Well, my friend in Florida actually does have respect, I know, for other people's feelings. I know him well. He just doesn't ascribe to them, that's all. He doesn't believe that there's anything after death. He doesn't believe in any one form of religion, per se. Okay? Questions whether, you know, you read the paper, you see what's going on in the world. Questions how can a loving, understanding God allow for things like ISIS and beheadings and constant wars in the Middle East and people not learning to live together? And this has been going on since time immemorial. This has been going on since Cain and Abel. You know, jealousies, petty jealousies and rivalries, whether it's in the name of religion or not. You know, many times it is in the name of religion. Most wars are fought in the name of religion. And if it's not religion, it's political feelings. You know, you take a uniform off two soldiers who are wearing opposing uniforms and they get along very well. And the perfect example of that is just think of our Civil War. You have Americans fighting Americans. One wore blue, one wore gray. But they were Americans just the same.
That's true.
So, you know, that's just my feelings.
Okay. As you can see, I've gotten some songs today that may always keep me with the policy of not copyrighted songs, but some of them are quite interesting, some of them quite good. You haven't heard a Kwanzaa song since you got on tonight. And you were sort of surprised that there was Kwanzaa songs. I'm not going to play anything long right now. It's only 20 seconds.
Well, I have to say, you know, I know that one of our callers in the past happened to call up and mention Kwanzaa. You know, when you talk about Judaism, when you talk about Catholicism, when you talk about Christmas and you talk about Hanukkah, you're talking about